Welcome, the Lord's chosen. When God decides it's your season, even your silence starts trending. There's a moment when heaven subtly flips the switch on your life, and suddenly the same people who overlooked you can't stop staring. They can't explain it, and neither can you. You didn't change your wardrobe, your hairstyle, or your lighting. You just became different. Something divine, something magnetic, something that feels like the universe is now in on your glow-up. Psychologists call it radiance perception, that inexplicable pull toward people whose energy feels lighter, freer, healed. But this isn't science at work. This is sanctification in motion. When God starts refining your spirit, even your physical presence begins to shift. Your eyes look clearer, your tone sharper, your walk heavier with purpose. You don't chase attention anymore. It finds you like a moth to a flame it can't resist. And the funny part, those who once called you too much now can't get enough. They're squinting at you like, wait, when did you start glowing like Wi-Fi in a storm? What they don't realize is, this isn't cosmetic, it's cosmic. You're not becoming beautiful, you're becoming beheld. God is literally upgrading your visibility. So when people start treating you differently, staring longer, stuttering when they talk, or suddenly trying to check in, don't be confused. It's not vanity, it's voltage. Heaven is reintroducing you as the version they were never prepared to meet. You're not who you were. And that's exactly why they don't understand what's happening. Welcome to this season, where your glow isn't just seen, it's felt. Number one, God is upgrading your aura, not your appearance. When God starts elevating you, He doesn't begin with your looks. He begins with your light. You start noticing it before anyone says a word. There's a new calm about you, a new rhythm in how you move through life. You're no longer rushing, no longer explaining, no longer trying to fit where you no longer belong. It's not pride, it's peace. And that peace begins to glow from within you in ways you can't fake, filter, or force. People see the difference but can't quite define it. They might say you look refreshed or different, but what they're really sensing is alignment. God has been cleaning your spirit, removing bitterness, insecurity, resentment, and fear. And when that heaviness leaves, your whole energy shifts. You start radiating clarity. That's the kind of beauty no mirror can measure. Your aura, that unseen atmosphere around you, starts carrying evidence of healing. You walk into rooms and change how people feel without saying a word. Some are drawn closer, others suddenly pull away. Both are part of the process. Your frequency no longer matches chaos, gossip, or drama. You've outgrown the emotional noise that once drained you, and that peace you carry becomes your new kind of attraction. The truth is, God's glow-up isn't about vanity, it's about visibility. When He's ready to use you, He makes sure people notice you, not for what you wear, but for what you carry. You become magnetic without trying because your energy is now aligned with divine purpose. You start shining in places that once ignored you, not because you changed your outer world, but because your inner world finally healed. That's the real secret. When your soul gets lighter, your presence gets louder. And that right there is the kind of beauty heaven creates. Silent, spiritual, and impossible to fake. Number two, you're radiating peace in a world addicted to chaos. There's a strange power in calm. When life around you is noisy, messy, and chaotic, the simplest thing can make you stand out. Being at peace. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about holding yourself steady when storms rage around you. That steadiness, that quiet strength is magnetic. People notice it even if they don't understand it. They're used to drama, tension, and constant overreaction. So when someone moves through life without feeding into that madness, it's almost unsettling. Your peace is not something you earned overnight. It's forged from endurance, from carrying more than you wanted to, from learning to trust a process bigger than your own understanding. You've been tested by life, by people, and by your own doubts, and you've survived without losing yourself. That survival shows, and it's visible in the way you carry yourself. You don't shout to be heard, but when you speak, it lands. You don't push to be liked, but your presence is sought. That's the quiet power of someone aligned with God's rhythm. This peace also acts like a filter. It separates the energy that belongs around you from the energy that doesn't. People who thrive on chaos won't understand why they feel uneasy around you. Those who are ready for growth will be drawn in without even realizing why. Your calm becomes a lens through which others see their own unrest, their own insecurities and their own weaknesses. It makes them confront what they've been avoiding, whether they admit it or not. The beauty of this transformation is subtle but profound. It doesn't need decoration or recognition. Your peace alone elevates your presence. It's the kind of attraction that doesn't come from looks, achievements, or charm. It comes from surviving, healing, and refusing to be shaken by the storm. And in a world addicted to noise, that kind of quiet power is irresistible. It's proof that God is not just shaping your appearance or your path. He's shaping your energy, and the world is beginning to feel it. Number 3. Heaven gave you contrast, so earth could recognize light. Life didn't make things easy for you, and that was never a mistake. Every struggle, every betrayal, every moment of being overlooked was setting the stage for something far greater. God allows contrast for a reason. You can't fully appreciate light without knowing darkness, and you can't be fully recognized without walking through seasons that obscure your shine. The trials weren't meant to break you. They were meant to define the contours of your future brilliance. The world tends to celebrate instant success and surface-level beauty, but what makes someone truly magnetic is the depth carved by hardship. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, and every period of loneliness added layers to your character that can't be copied, bought, or faked. When God works in your life, He uses those very moments that once felt like curses to construct an aura that attracts attention without effort. People don't realize it, but they are drawn to the energy born from resilience and refined by struggle. Your contrast makes your presence unforgettable. When you walk into a room, your energy carries weight because it's been tempered by experience. Those who once doubted or underestimated you now feel the difference, but they can't name it. They sense a depth that only comes from surviving what others would have let destroy them. That's why your rise feels almost unfair to those who have never had to fight for their own shine. This process is also divine timing. God isn't rushing your story, He's perfecting it. He allows the darkness not to punish you, but to highlight your light when it emerges. That contrast makes your transformation undeniable. It doesn't matter if people understand what's happening. They are witnessing proof that your journey wasn't random, your struggles weren't wasted, and your growth is authentic. The truth is simple yet powerful. Your value was being forged in fire. Now you're emerging not just more attractive, but more visible, more magnetic, and more untouchable to the energy that once tried to hold you down. The world didn't see it coming, and that's exactly the point. Number 4. You're becoming the mirror. People avoid. When God begins to cleanse your energy, it doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how others experience you. Your presence starts reflecting truths that people have been avoiding, the parts of themselves they haven't wanted to confront. You're no longer the person who simply goes along with the expectations or the opinions of others. You've been refined, and now your very existence forces a kind of honesty. People feel it, even if they can't put it into words. The energy you carry becomes unavoidable. Those who are comfortable with illusions or half-truths suddenly feel tension around you. They squirm because the mirror you've become doesn't flatter. It reveals. It shows their insecurities, their unhealed wounds, their compromises, and their fears. That reflection makes them uncomfortable, not because you are hostile or judgmental, but because you are real, and your authenticity demands recognition of their own shortcomings. This isn't about scaring people away or projecting superiority. It's about the natural effect of someone who has been purified by trials, by God's guidance, and by deep self-awareness. When you operate from clarity, integrity, and purpose, the energy around you sharpens. People are drawn to it, but only if they're ready to face what you reflect. If they aren't, they recoil, avoid, or even attempt to diminish you. That resistance is not your problem. It's the proof that transformation has occurred. The mirror effect also works silently. You don't have to speak loudly, argue, or prove anything. The mere way you move, the calm in your reactions, and the confidence in your boundaries communicate volumes. Others may be unsettled, but that discomfort is conviction, a gentle exposure of truths they've ignored for too long. You are no longer a passive presence. You have become a measure, a standard, a reflection of what's possible when someone aligns with purpose and divine design. God didn't just change your circumstances, He changed your energy. And now your reflection challenges the world in a way few are ready to face. Number 5, your isolation was cosmetic surgery for the soul. There comes a point when God removes you from everything familiar, not to hurt you, but to heal you without noise. That season of isolation wasn't rejection, it was preparation. While others were being seen, you were being shaped. You were hidden because what God was doing inside you was too delicate for outside opinions. Isolation felt lonely, confusing, and at times unfair, but it was the divine pause needed to reconstruct your inner world. In that quiet space, God stripped away everything that didn't belong, the fears, the people-pleasing, the guilt, the emotional clutter. He cut out the habits that made you shrink yourself just to keep others comfortable. The process wasn't glamorous. It was surgery, painful, but precise. He worked in silence, healing the wounds you didn't even know were still bleeding, fixing the parts of you that applause could never reach. Now you're stepping back into the world not just healed, but wholly in your energy. The difference isn't in your face, it's in your frequency. People can sense it before you speak. You look lighter, not because of what you lost, but because of what was removed. You carry peace that feels unbothered, confidence that doesn't need attention, and clarity that can't be manipulated. That's what divine isolation produces, quiet power. Those who once doubted you won't understand how you transformed without being seen. They were watching for a visible glow-up, not realizing your soul was getting the surgery. God made sure your transformation happened off stage, so no one could take credit for what He was perfecting in private. Now you walk differently, not out of pride, but out of purpose. You've been rewired to respond from wisdom instead of wounds. The isolation was never abandonment. It was anesthesia. Heaven put you under to remove what was blocking your shine. And now, as you re-emerge, you're not prettier, you're purer. The healing shows, and it's undeniable. Number 6, you don't chase, you attract by frequency. When God starts working in your life, He rewires the way energy flows around you. Suddenly, the exhausting cycle of chasing approval, attention, or validation no longer works, and you stop trying. You stop bending, performing, and contorting yourself to fit into spaces where your essence wasn't valued. That disconnect from low vibrations isn't punishment. It's realignment. God is adjusting your frequency so that you attract, not chase. Your presence starts pulling people, opportunities, and experiences toward you effortlessly. It isn't about trying harder, looking better, or saying the right things. It's about being. Your energy, now cleansed and aligned, becomes a magnet. Those who are meant to be drawn into your orbit feel it instantly. The universe responds to the vibration of someone who is whole, self-aware, and unapologetically aligned with purpose. There's no effort, no strategy, and no desperation, only resonance. This is why people notice you differently now. You're not hustling for recognition. Recognition finds you. Your aura communicates value that can't be earned or bought. That quiet magnetism unsettles some and inspires others. Those who were once indifferent suddenly feel the pull. Those who tried to manipulate or control your attention find themselves naturally gravitating toward your energy. It's not charm, it's essence. The most powerful part of this transformation is that it cannot be faked. Effort might get attention temporarily, but frequency keeps it permanently. God doesn't need you to market yourself because aligned energy is inherently visible. The divine doesn't advertise, it resonates. And when your vibration rises, it's not just about being noticed. It's about being undeniably felt. You've reached a point where you no longer settle for chasing the wrong things. You stand still, exist fully, and the right people, situations, and blessings move toward you. Your life becomes a living example that attraction isn't effort, it's alignment. You don't chase, you resonate, and the world adjusts to your frequency. Number 7, your spirit speaks a language. Flesh can't translate. When God elevates you, the change doesn't just happen on the outside. It happens in realms most people can't perceive. Your spirit starts operating on a higher frequency, one that logic and appearance can't explain. People around you can feel that something about you has shifted, but they can't put their finger on it. They sense power, calm, and authority that wasn't there before, yet no words can capture what it is. That's because your transformation isn't visible. It's vibrational. You're communicating through your energy, not your mouth. This is what happens when you start moving by faith instead of sight. The language of faith is invisible yet undeniable. You no longer speak from fear, lack, or insecurity. Your presence begins to transmit assurance, strength, and divine timing. Those still living in the flesh, driven by ego, appearances, or comparison, can't fully understand you anymore. You've become foreign to them because your spirit now speaks the dialect of heaven. They might misread your peace as pride, your silence as distance, or your confidence as arrogance. But none of that is true. You're simply tuned to a different channel. You're no longer reacting from wounds, you're responding from wisdom. The frequency you carry doesn't beg to be understood, it simply is. And that's what confuses people who still rely on human logic to explain spiritual growth. The beauty of this phase is that you don't need to explain yourself anymore. Those who are meant for you will recognize your energy, even if they can't define it. They'll feel safe around you without knowing why. That's spiritual resonance. You're now a living signal, proof that divine transformation doesn't need validation. God didn't just change how you think. He upgraded how your spirit communicates. You're speaking in a frequency that the human mind can't decode, but the soul instantly recognizes. That's why you stand out now. Your spirit is fluent in heaven's language. Number 8, your detachment is what's making you desirable. When you finally stopped giving your energy to places that didn't value it, everything changed. You didn't become cold, you became clear. For so long you poured into people who mistook your consistency for convenience. You gave attention, love, and understanding without limits, thinking it would be reciprocated. But God had to teach you that your worth doesn't shine in your presence. It shines in your absence. The moment you pulled your energy back, people began to feel the void your presence once filled. Detachment isn't about bitterness, it's about boundaries. You reached a point where you realized that constantly proving your loyalty was draining the very essence that made you radiant. You stopped chasing conversations that went nowhere. You stopped explaining your heart to those committed to misunderstanding you. That quiet withdrawal was your healing, and your healing became your power. The energy that was once scattered trying to maintain connections started returning to you, strengthening your spirit and sharpening your discernment. And now, the same people who dismissed your value can't stop thinking about you. They replay your words, your calm, your kindness, not because they suddenly changed, but because your detachment exposed what they took for granted. Familiarity blinded them when you were near. Absence opened their eyes when you left. You didn't have to prove your worth. Your silence did it for you. This new version of you doesn't beg for attention or validation. You've learned that true connection doesn't require convincing, and genuine love doesn't demand exhaustion. The more you withdrew from performing, the more magnetic you became. Your energy now moves with purpose, not pressure. People feel it. They sense your peace, your control, your distance, and it draws them in. That's the paradox of detachment. When you stop trying to be chosen, your value becomes undeniable. You're no longer accessible out of habit, you're present by choice. And that's what makes you impossible to forget. Number 9, God rewired your energy to reflect royalty. There's a shift that happens when God steps in to realign your spirit. It's subtle, yet undeniable. Your confidence stops being about proving anything to anyone. It stops being loud, performative, or defensive. Instead, it becomes authority. Every step you take, every word you speak, carries weight without trying. People sense it instinctively. You don't need to announce your value, flaunt your achievements, or compete for attention. The atmosphere itself acknowledges your presence because God has stamped your identity with purpose and power. This is the energy of royalty, not the kind that comes with titles or crowns, but the kind that radiates naturally from alignment. You no longer waver under criticism or flinch under judgment. Your calm isn't coldness, it's command. Your patience isn't passivity. It's proof that you understand the magnitude of your own timing. You're no longer swayed by public opinion because your inner court has already declared you worthy. People are drawn to you because energy always recognizes energy. Those who operate on the same frequency respect it instinctively. Those who don't may feel intimidated, but even that is a sign of the power you now carry. God's work in you ensures that your influence isn't based on charisma alone. It's embedded in your essence. You no longer ask to be seen, and yet you are noticed. You no longer seek to be heard, and yet your words land like decrees. This transformation also rewires how you interact with the world. You set boundaries with ease because your energy commands respect before a single word is spoken. Your presence alone communicates, I know who I am, and I operate from that truth. That authority doesn't need approval. It doesn't need permission. Heaven's signature on your soul has made it unmistakable. You've been remade not just for influence, but for impact. The world may not understand it yet, but your very existence now reflects the kind of royalty that can't be fabricated, borrowed, or ignored. Your aura announces it before you do. Number 10, you carry evidence of survival in your glow. The glow people notice on you isn't the kind that comes from trends, makeup, or filters. It's deeper. It's the kind of radiance that carries history, scars, and stories that no one else can see. Every line softened, every confident stance, every calm gaze is proof that you survived moments most would have crumbled under. That light on your face is residue from battles you weren't supposed to win, from nights when surrender seemed easier than strength, from wounds that tried to claim you but failed. Your beauty now is fundamentally different because it's layered with authenticity. People are drawn to it not because it's flashy, but because it speaks of resilience. When someone notices your presence, They're actually sensing the energy of your survival, a kind of quiet power that only comes from enduring, overcoming, and rising without losing yourself. It's the kind of beauty that tells the world, I survived, and I am intact. This glow doesn't come from effort. It comes from grace. You didn't just heal yourself. God carried you through moments that would have crushed ordinary souls. Every trial left a mark, but those marks became the foundations of your magnetism. What once caused pain now fuels presence. What once threatened to break you now highlights the strength in your glow. It's not vanity, it's victory. The best part is that this glow communicates without words. You walk into spaces and people can feel it. They may not know your story, but they sense the energy of someone who has been refined by fire. Your life, your battles, and your survival have made you radiant in ways that beauty alone could never achieve. This is mercy manifest. The world didn't see the nights you cried, the weight you carried, or the moments you wanted to give up. Yet here you are, luminous, unshakable, undeniable. Your glow is proof that you not only survived, but you thrived. And that light? It's irresistible because it is authentic, earned, and sacred. Number 11, you're unreachable because you're now guarded by grace. Your energy has changed, and with that change comes a level of protection people can't see but can feel. You're not distant out of bitterness or fear. You're untouchable because God elevated your spirit. What used to drain you, exhaust you, or pull you into drama now bounces off you like water off glass. Your access level has been upgraded, and only those aligned with your frequency can approach without disruption. This isn't about pushing people away. It's about boundaries that are divinely enforced. Grace has become your shield. You're moving through life with discernment that feels effortless, but is deeply intentional. The voices that once dictated your worth, the energies that once left you depleted, the situations that used to consume your peace, they no longer have entry. Your spirit now operates on a level that rejects what isn't meant for you naturally, without you even trying. People notice the change, even if they don't understand it. Some feel frustrated, confused, or even intimidated because the person they once knew is no longer available to manipulate or drain. That discomfort isn't personal. It's a reflection of their inability to reach the new you. You've been recalibrated, and your presence is now a filter that allows only what aligns with your purpose to enter. The beauty of being guarded by grace is that it doesn't feel heavy or defensive. It's effortless, subtle, and undeniable. You no longer have to explain your absence, justify your boundaries, or perform for validation. Grace handles all of that for you. You walk through the world untouched by the chaos that used to define your days, and in that untouchable energy, you become magnetic in a way that commands respect without demanding it. God didn't just protect you, He repositioned you. You're unreachable to the wrong energy because He's preparing you for the right alignment. What once drained you can't even find your frequency anymore, and that is the power of being divinely guarded. Number 12, you're attractive because you're no longer accessible. There was a time when you gave your presence freely, answering every call, saying yes to every favor, showing up even when your spirit was running on empty. You believed availability was love, but all it did was teach people to take you for granted. God had to step in and restrict your access, not because you were being punished, but because you were being repositioned. Your absence became your elevation. The moment you stopped showing up where you weren't honored, heaven began making you visible where you're truly valued. Scarcity creates value, and your energy is no exception. When you withdrew from those spaces that mishandled you, something powerful shifted. Your worth became undeniable. The same people who once overlooked you started to notice your distance. They replayed old conversations, reread old messages, and tried to figure out why your energy no longer felt reachable. What they're really missing isn't your attention, it's your presence. Because your presence carried peace, clarity, and light they didn't appreciate until it was gone. God has a way of protecting his chosen ones by reducing their accessibility. He removes you from tables that diminish your light and prepares rooms that match your spirit. You've become selective, not out of ego, but out of evolution. Your silence is now your filter. Only those with pure intentions can cross it. And that shift makes you radiant in a way that's both mysterious and magnetic. This new version of you is still kind, still giving, but not available to chaos. You've stopped auditioning for spaces that never valued your role. You've learned that being everywhere is not a blessing. Being in the right place is. And now, because you're no longer accessible to everyone, you've become visible to the right ones. God didn't just elevate you. He protected your essence by placing divine limits around your access. That's not loss. That's preservation. Number 13. They're confused because you no longer need what used to control you. There was a time when your energy was dictated by others' opinions, when validation felt like oxygen, and approval was the measure of your worth. People who thrived on your insecurity knew exactly how to push, pull, and manipulate you. They understood the levers that made you bend, apologize, or over-explain. But God intervened. He freed you from those invisible chains and recalibrated your sense of self. Suddenly, the approval system that once held you captive no longer matters. You operate from a place of self-assurance and alignment that doesn't require permission from anyone. This liberation is subtle yet radical. You don't shout it, flaunt it, or boast about it, but people notice. They can't understand how you've become unshakable. The same individuals who once controlled your mood, decisions, and confidence now stare at you like you've become someone they've never met. They are unsettled because they no longer know how to influence you, and that confusion looks like beauty. Your detachment from their power is magnetic, undeniable, and often intimidating. You've learned that freedom is attractive. Your energy is no longer negotiable. Boundaries that once felt impossible now feel natural. You no longer compromise your peace to appease anyone. That calm, unbothered authority draws people toward you, even as it repels those who thrived on your old vulnerability. What they interpret as confidence or charm is really just a byproduct of your liberation, a light shining from someone who has finally mastered self-possession. God didn't just give you self-worth. He rewired your energy to make it visible without effort. You walk through spaces fully aligned with your truth, unaffected by the manipulations that once dictated your life. That freedom isn't just empowering, it's transformative, and the world, especially those who once sought to control you, can't help but notice. Your liberation isn't just healing for you, it's magnetic proof of your evolution. Number 14. God didn't beautify you, He sanctified you. What people call beauty when they look at you is only the surface of something much deeper. Your glow, your presence, your energy, none of it exists for validation, admiration, or fleeting attention. God didn't simply enhance your appearance, He sanctified your spirit. He prepared you to walk into rooms, spaces, and situations with a presence that carries purpose, authority, and assignment. What others interpret as magnetism or charm is actually anointing in motion, and it operates on a level that the ordinary eye cannot decode. Your shine is deliberate. Every step, every word, every subtle shift in energy is aligned with what God intends for you. It isn't vanity. It's evidence that you're operating within divine order. People see pretty or charismatic, but heaven sees the preparation, the battles you've endured, and the mission that is waiting for you. Your energy isn't meant to be collected or admired for the sake of ego. It's meant to activate, influence, and transform. That's why you feel different now, and why those around you sense something undefinable. It's not your choice to stand out. It's your destiny. This sanctification changes the way you move in the world. You're no longer swayed by superficial approval or shallow admiration. You respond from alignment with purpose, not people's expectations. Your glow becomes a tool, not a trophy. It attracts what matters and repels what doesn't, drawing the right connections, opportunities, and energies toward you, while leaving the rest behind. The difference between being beautified and being sanctified is profound. Beautification fades, sanctification endures. The power in your presence is rooted in preparation and destiny, not in aesthetics or fleeting attention. You're not shining for applause. You're shining because God has equipped you for impact. And every glance, every notice, every moment of admiration is secondary to the mission your glow is meant to fulfill. Your life, your light, and your presence are living proof that sanctification transcends beauty. Conclusion. What we've explored is not just a list of spiritual truths. It's a roadmap for anyone who is being elevated by God in ways the world cannot comprehend. From the subtle shifts in your energy to the magnetic force of your presence, every transformation is intentional, divine, and unstoppable. You are no longer defined by insecurity, validation, or the expectations of others. You carry the light of survival, the authority of quiet command, and the unmistakable resonance of someone aligned with purpose. People may notice your glow, your calm, or your confidence, but what they sense is only the surface of a profound, unseen transformation. God has done more than refine your spirit. He has sanctified it, protecting you from energies that once drained you and elevating you into spaces that honor your essence. The trials you endured were not setbacks. They were the shaping forces of destiny, crafting a version of you that operates on a frequency the ordinary cannot understand. Your detachment is magnetic, your absence creates value, and your liberation from old chains communicates power without a single word. You've moved from survival to sovereignty, from being defined by the world to being recognized by heaven. Your presence now functions as both a mirror and a measure, showing others truths they cannot escape while affirming the divine blueprint for your life. This is the beauty of being a chosen one. The transformation you are undergoing is not for applause, attention, or temporary admiration. It is for assignment, purpose, and destiny. You radiate not because of human standards of beauty or influence, but because your soul has been prepared, your energy recalibrated, and your spirit aligned with a divine plan that is uniquely yours. Every step you take, every interaction you have, carries the proof of God's work in your life, a work that cannot be replicated, diminished, or ignored. If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more powerful insights that elevate your mind, spirit, and perspective. Don't forget to like this video, share it with those who need to hear it, and leave a comment sharing what part of your own transformation you recognize in this message. Your presence here matters, and your energy contributes to a community that is learning to embrace its destiny. Stay aligned, stay elevated, and keep letting your light do the talking. Stay blessed always.